Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final third. And today we're going to be doing our Premier League Matchweek 6 predictions. Now, it just feels like it's flying, It feels like just yesterday we did Matchweek 1. But, we are on Matchweek 6, hoping for an interesting weekend. We've got some good games, as there always are good games in the Premier League. Let's just jump straight into it. But before we do any of that, Hassan, do you want to reveal the player from the last video?
Yes, the player from the last video was Leighton Baines. Let us know in the comments below if you got that, and reveal a new player at the end of the video.
Perfect, yeah. So let's get straight into it. So the first game of the weekend is a 12:30 kickoff, and it's Brentford versus Manchester United. Before Hassan gets into talking about his prediction, Ali's prediction is a 2-1 win for Manchester United. What do you think, Hassan?
Funny enough, I got the same score as him. I think, after the last game, obviously very close game with Chelsea, but I think United, hopefully they get a bit more confidence from that game. Obviously, we didn't play the best football, but I think that, obviously a win will bring a lot of confidence to the team. Especially the coach. I think, relieving that pressure off Amorim will definitely help a lot. But yeah, we'll have to see, to be honest. Brentford can also get a result. It's at home for them, so they do have that advantage. But yeah, I'd say, it just depends on who turns up on that day. And hopefully United do turn up, because they won last game, so they should use that confidence in this game. And that's why I give them 2-1. What about you, Carlos?
Now, for me, I've gone for a 2-2 draw. Now, this is me thinking mostly with my head and not with my heart. I think Brentford kind of have been giant killers this season. I know they've only played Chelsea, really. But, the reason we won last time was because of the red card. We got our first 2 goals while it was 11v10. And obviously, we defended the second half very well. But our issue scoring goals. I think we can, maybe get a goal from like Burmo or Cunha, because obviously Cunha's back now. But I don't know. I think we can still leak goals if we make mistakes. And we have a lot of mistakes in us. I mean, we performed quite well against Chelsea, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that again this time round. So I've gone with a 2-2 draw. We'll move on to Chelsea vs Brighton. Ali's prediction was 3-2 win for Chelsea. What's yours?
I've gone for a similar score. I went for 3-1 instead. I think Chelsea's defense obviously is a bit questionable at times. We saw that last game against United, but obviously they were down to 10 men. But I just think sometimes they're a bit shaky in defense. But I think in general, I don't think Brighton has been the most clinical team or the most dangerous team in terms of creating chances. Though I think last game they were pretty decent, but I think against Chelsea, obviously Chelsea got in the stronger midfield. I think Carlos Baleba last game wasn't great, so if he's not up to scratch in this game as well, then I think Chelsea can very dominate the game and do well. And I think it might be at Stamford Bridge as well, so it's obviously an advantage. Chelsea fans turn up for their team at home, so I think that that could help them out. Look, Brighton can definitely do well. They can win this game if they play well, but I think that from the previous results, I think that Chelsea have been the more consistent team, and they should be able to win, especially at home. What about you, Carlos? What do you think?
I've gone with the same result, but in terms of the actual scoreline, I've gone with a 2-1 win for Chelsea. Like you say, Chelsea, quality team. Obviously, we know they've had very, very big performances, none more so than the Club World Cup final against PSG. Obviously, we saw PSG, claiming all the awards in the Ballon d'Or ceremony the other day. We know how great they are. And the fact that Chelsea beat them convincingly is good. Listen, that was a while back. They just lost to Manchester United. That red card, Robert Sanchez isn't going to be in goal, obviously, for this game. Should be interesting. I think maybe their next goalkeeper could maybe even make a name for himself, stake a claim. I think they will win 2-1, though, because Brighton, we don't know what we're going to get from them. And I think Chelsea just have players like Cole Palmer, who was probably going to be very angry from the last game being subbed off during the first half. So yeah, I think he's going to come for a little bit of revenge. Let's move on to the next game, and that is Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. Ali's prediction for that was a 1-0 win for Liverpool. What's yours?
My prediction is 2-1, so same result. I just think there'll be more goals. Liverpool's a quality team, but I just think they've not been the best, recently. especially against Everton. I didn't really see them dominate the game enough, especially at Anfield. And I think against a team like Crystal Palace, who's like kind of similar levels to Everton, I'd say that it won't be an easy game for them. I think it'll be a close game. We've seen the qualities that Crystal Palace have, and the fact that they beat Liverpool last season as well in the FA Cup final. So I think that will obviously be a good indication that they can do well in this game. But yeah, we'll have to see, to be honest. I just think Liverpool, they have the big stars. Obviously, they've got Wirtz and Isak. They could definitely do very well. But I just think the problem with Liverpool at the moment, they're just not playing very well. They're kind of relying on last minute winners and dominating well in the first half, but not just falling off in the second half. I think the biggest problem for Liverpool right now is having a 2-0 lead. They seem to lose that lead very easily, and even I think Arne Slot is probably confused about why that's happening. But the sooner they can resolve that issue, the more confident they'll be. But I think 2-1 will be a good scoreline for Liverpool. I'd say obviously a win for them. I just think right now they seem to be getting the win every single game. So that's why I give them a 2-1 result. What about you, Carlos?
I've gone with a 3-1 win for Liverpool. Yeah, we all expect Liverpool to win, as they've been doing, not being convincing. But I just think that there has to be a sort of a point where they do sort of get a more convincing win. Now, I'm not saying Crystal Palace are going to be easy at all. That's why I've given them a goal. But I just think Liverpool in quality and depth is going to be a major thing for them. I think obviously Ekitike is not available for this game. He got the red card in the last game. So it's a chance for Isak to really stake a claim and sort of solidify his name in that position. So I think he's going to be a major player in this game. So 3-1 win for Liverpool is my prediction. We'll move on to Leeds versus Bournemouth. Now, Ali predicted a 2-1 win for Bournemouth. What did you predict, Hassan?
Also, before I interrupt you, when I said that Crystal Palace beat Liverpool in the FA Cup final, I was meant to say the Community Shield, so yeah, it's my mistake right there. But essentially, yeah, my prediction for that game, I've given it 2-1 to Bournemouth. Is this about the Bournemouth game, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll give them 2-1. Look, I think Bournemouth right now, better team than Leeds. I think Leeds won the last game fairly convincingly, but as we know, Leeds, when they're playing against the bigger sides, they do tend to struggle, and that's obviously down to their quality not being as good as the other teams. I think Bournemouth right now are actually very good. Very good quality players, star players, very good as well. So I think Leeds, will struggle in this game, and I don't know if I think it's at Ellen Road if I'm not mistaken, but
yeah, it is.
Yeah. So obviously the Leeds fans will turn up. We know how Ellen Road is. Usually with these type of games, they usually turn up the fans. So yeah, I mean the fans will do their job, but I do think that obviously Bournemouth are the better side, and that's why I give them a win. I think it'll be tough for Bournemouth to obviously score more than 2 goals, just because I think Leeds, they're defensively not too bad actually. I know they concede a lot of goals against Arsenal, but when you're at the Emirates and playing against Arsenal, it's gonna be difficult for Leeds to defend well. But I think against a team like Bournemouth, obviously they have a good attack, but obviously not as strong as Arsenal. And playing at home will definitely help. So yeah, I've given it a 2-1 just because I think it'll be a tight game, or a tight scoreline. So that's why I've given it a 2-1. What about you, Carlos?
Just before I get into my prediction, I think I said that it was a 2-1 win that Ali predicted. He predicted 2-0 to Bournemouth, so that was my mistake. Seem to be making mistakes left, right, and centre. But I feel like Man United defence nowadays. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But I've gone for a 2-1 win as well for Bournemouth. They have better players. They have more experience in the league. The manager's much more exciting. Don't take anything away from Daniel Farke. But other than sounding like ChatGPT reincarnate, I don't know if he offers much in terms of tactics, and I just think Bournemouth are a very much more exciting team and a much greater threat. So I would give the win to Bournemouth 2-1. Let's move on to Manchester City versus Burnley. Now, Ali's prediction for that was 3-0 Manchester City. What was yours, Hassan?
I've given it 4-0. Just because the basis that Haaland is actually scoring a lot of goals now. He's on form. He's looking very deadly on the counter, especially. The way that City playing now is just a bit, unorthodox for City standards. He's going to a full Sean Dyche tactics right now, Pep. But Yeah, no, I think that that will actually help a lot for Haaland. On the counter, he's a very very dangerous player to defend against. He's got the strength, he's got the pace, and the finishing to complement with those things. So I think if Haaland can obviously do well in that game, he'll definitely score at least a hat trick. Look, Burnley, obviously the team that recently promoted, they've had a couple of wins under their belt, but I think that they're just not good enough. They're not on the level of City, even though City has not been the greatest as of recent. I don't know if Sharky is going to come back in the team as well, or if he's available, because I think he's been out for a while now. So if he's available, then that will definitely help out City. They just have more quality, and I don't think Burnley have much to offer. Especially with the way that City are playing right now, they're quite defensive. Back then they were kind of more emphasizing on possession-based football, whatever. But I think now they've kind of focused into a counter-attacking side, which is a bit interesting. But I'm excited to see how this will work out for City. But just Burnley, don't really expect them to do well. No, I mean I think they're also a counter-attacking side, so. I think against a team like City who's got better quality players, they're going to struggle to score goals, and that's why I haven't given them a single goal. And I think if Haaland does really well, could easily be 4-0. But yeah, what about you, Khalas? What do you think?
I think it's a 4-0 win for Manchester City as well. I think that like you said, Haaland's form is just. I mean, I saw a stat saying that this is his worst start to a Premier League season. Five goals in 4 games, or was it 6 goals and something like that. This is apparently the worst start he's had in the league, and which is crazy because I saw one time in 5 games he scored like 9 goals, which is unbelievable. I think usually he gets his seasonally hat trick at home quite early on in the season. I got a feeling that's going to be in this game. I'll triple captain him, but don't listen to my word because I don't play FPL because I'm not good enough. Again, Burnley, like Hassan said, don't offer much at all. I just think that there's a lack of quality, and when they score goals from other teams making mistakes. I don't see Man City making as many mistakes as they did against Manchester United, which I thought that was a game that Man United should have capitalised on, but we don't talk about that too much. So I think Man City will win 4-0. And obviously be relatively convincing. So we'll move on to the next game, and that's Nottingham Forest versus Sunderland. Now, Ali's prediction for that game was a 2-1 win for Sunderland. What's yours?
I've given it 2-1 to Sunderland. Look, I think me and Ali kind of got the same idea here. Nottingham Forest not doing particularly well with the new manager. I get past Koglu was former Tottenham manager, but I think that he hasn't done the best job right now, and that's not fully on him, to be honest. I mean, coming into a new team that's faced a lot of problems, with the manager, with the owner and stuff, it's kind of resulted in tension in the club, and I think the players right now might not be in the best, mental state right now. Obviously, they might be going through a lot or thinking about, certain things. They just don't look like the same team, they're not as confident. Whether that's, I think attacking wise, I think they're fine. They're not bad by any means, but I think the defense has been quite a letdown. I think Murillo is still injured for them, so obviously that's a big blow to them in terms of the defense. And that's why they've been scoring, conceding a lot of goals recently. I mean, against Real Betis today, they drew, they were winning 2-1, and then Anthony leveled it to make it 2-2. So it's like they don't have issues with scoring goals. I think it's just getting results in general, and just keeping a clean sheet. Because I mean Sels was doing great for them last season, but obviously you can't rely on a goalkeeper to keep in the game all the time and to get you 3 points. It has to be all on the defense as well. And obviously Murillo was a big member of the team, and obviously losing a player like that can mentally, not just mentally affect them, but just affect the whole team in general when you rely on a player like that to get results for you. I think Arsenal had the same issue as well with Saliba and Gabriel. Losing one of those players can affect the whole team, and I think that's what's happening to Forest right now, as well as having a new manager. So I think Sunderland right now a good team. The likes of Xhaka, he's done a lot for the team. He's had a couple of assists as well under his belt. He just provides a lot of experience. I think Sunderland in general are a very impressive team. Playing very well. Even though they've signed a lot of players, I think that the new signings have integrated themselves well in the team and are just playing very good. So that's why I give them the 2-1 win. But what about you, Carlos?
I've gone for a 2-1 win for Forest. I don't really have any reasoning behind it. It's more the fact that I think they need the win. It's at home. It's against a newly promoted side, which we have said that Sunderland are a good team. But I think that they need to capitalize on the opportunity. So, yeah, Forest need to win this game. Like I said about Wolves, obviously they didn't do it last time. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But yeah, Forest need this win probably more than most teams. Yeah, Sunderland are a good team. I think they'll give them a good game, but I think Forest are just so desperate for a win, and I have a feeling that it will come in this game. So I've gone for a 2-1 win for Nottingham Forest. Moving on to the next game, it is Tottenham Hotspur versus Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Ali has gone for a 3-1 win for Tottenham. Who do you think is going to win, Hassan?
I've gone for a 2-0 win for Tottenham. Yeah, look, with Wolves, yeah, they've been in a bad situation right now. Even the games that they should have won, they haven't won, particularly against Leeds especially. They were completely dominated. So, yeah, I just think yeah, there's no hope for them in this game, to be honest. Even though Tottenham have had bad games against, like, Bournemouth. Bournemouth are a much better side than Wolves, so I don't think that Wolves will be able to score. I think Tottenham as well are a counter-attacking team, so is Wolves, so I think that will work in Wolves' favour because obviously Tottenham can still play possession football. And with the quality that they have, they could definitely punish Wolves. But yeah, I just think Wolves, like they've not been great at all. The manager's obviously signed a new contract, but I don't think signing a manager like that has brought a lot of confidence to the team. The results have been shocking since the start of the Premier League. They've lost every game, so yeah, it's going to be very hard for them to see a result. They can potentially score a goal. I don't think 2-1 is a bad score for them. But I just struggle to see them scoring a goal. And Tottenham should win this game. I think it's at home for Tottenham as well. So this is definitely a game that Tottenham should win. But if they do lose that game, then it's in the history of Tottenham. They always do well against the big sides, but they play badly against the bad sides. So yeah, that's what I think. What about you, Carlos?
I've actually gone for a 3-0 win for Tottenham. I think it'll be quite convincing. But I would not be surprised if Wolves did pull something off because I really think it's another one of those things where they need the win, but they just don't look convincing at all. I know they won and they knocked out Everton from the Carabao Cup, but I don't think it's enough. Like you can have a good cup run, but if you're not playing well in the league, it's a completely different competition. It's a completely different ball game. Tottenham have quality players, a good defense, good midfield, and a good attack, and a good goalkeeper. Listen, their team going band for band. I've said this multiple times. There's no question Tottenham are a better team. Now I just think they have to perform on the day. It's looking very bleak for Wolves, and Tottenham I think will because they have punished a couple teams that aren't in good form. They punished West Ham, obviously 3-0. Sorry, Ali. But yeah, I think that they will do the same again, and I think they'll win 3-0 against Wolves. We'll move on to the next game, and that's Aston Villa versus Fulham. If I just pull Ali's result up. Ali thinks that Fulham are going to win 1-0. What do you think, Hassan?
Yeah, I've gone for the same as well. I've not exact same score. I've given 2-1 to Fulham. Look, I just think Aston Villa right now just not a great side. I don't know what is with Aston Villa right now. Complete, is different from how it was last season. It's probably down to the transfer window not being great for them. I don't think Emery's even played most of his signings from this transfer window. So it just goes to show how last minute the transfer window was for them. They didn't really prioritize signings from the beginning. So obviously they didn't have a clear plan of what players to sign and who to sign exactly. Signing likes of Lindelof and Sancho, just Man United, rejects. I don't think that's the level of Aston Villa, especially from last season. I think that they should sign more quality players. And I just don't think they've been playing good at all. They do have good players, but I think from last season they kind of relied on the likes of Morgan Rogers, Rashford and Asensio to play well for them. And it worked for that season, but I think this season, obviously Rogers not been playing well. Asensio and Rashford have gone to different clubs now, so it's kind of affected the team in a bad way. And it's unfortunate, but you can't really blame the manager. He has been backed fully in this transfer window, so you can't really put point the fingers at him. But I think Aston Villa just not looking great. Fulham, have had decent results against specific sides. Even against the big teams, they've drawn. So, it goes to show that they're able to give good teams a good game, and I think they will this game as well. But yeah, I just think Aston Villa just not looking great, and that's why I think Fulham, should win just on the basis of their form. But anything can happen in football. But yeah, I've given it 2-1. What about you, Carlos?
I've gone with a 1-1 draw. I think that Aston Villa again need a result. It's more I'm basing it off the fact the team needs a result rather than I think they will. I mean, sometimes you can go off the last couple games, but sometimes those games get chucked out the window and they can perform on a single game. So, yeah, I think Fulham are very likely to get a result, but I think that Aston Villa also need to get a result, and I think some of their players like Sancho's come in and look very good for them. I say very good, just better than what they've had previous. Harvey Elliott is a good player. Again, Fulham have quality too. Emile Smith-Rowe, Raul Jimenez, Adama Traore. And a multitude of different other players. But I would say a 1-1 draw. I feel like that's a fair result. Because like we said, Villa really do need this win more than, again, I said it again, more than most. So yeah, I'll just give it a 1-1 draw. So we move on to the next game, which is Newcastle versus Arsenal. Ali's gone with a 1-0 win for Arsenal. What do you think, Hassan?
I've given it 3-1 to Arsenal. I just think that Newcastle have been quite out of form. I think since losing to Barcelona, they've been not great. It might be a mentality thing. And I think Eddie Howe as well just kind of changed the style of play and the formation, which is a bit weird. He went from usually they play a fullback. He went from that to 3-5-2 or something, which is I'm not a Newcastle fan, so I don't know how frequently he uses this formation, but I'm used to seeing them playing like a 4-3-3 or a similar formation to that. So yeah, it was quite weird to see that. But yeah, I just think Newcastle, obviously, when you lose a big game like that, it does put every player down, not make them feel as confident as before. So obviously, the dressing room is not in a good place right now, but but I think Arsenal right now have actually they've not been too bad. Obviously against the big sides like Liverpool and Man City, they haven't really had the win. Which is for a team that you can expect to be competing for the title, you'd want them to get big results against these teams. So you'd expect Liverpool probably to win it this year again, which is unfortunate for us, fans, because we don't want them to win again. But it's just Arsenal just not even doing as well as we hoped. I think the main problem right now is just not feeding enough chances to Gyökeres. Gyökeres is the main signing that they had from last season. Him and Zubimendi, and they're not feeding enough chances to him. He's literally won the best striker award, the Gerd Müller award, in the Ballon d'Or ceremony. So it just goes to show, he's recognized as a very good striker. Probably one of the best in the world. And you're not feeding enough chances to him. What is the point? You're just playing 10 players at that point outfield. So yeah, it's just if Arsenal can feed more chances to Gyökeres, they will score more goals. That's why I give them the 3-1. Because I think hopefully now they've realised that if they don't give enough chances to Gyökeres, they won't be able to score more goals. And I think they have a dangerous attack in general. I think Madueke has done pretty well, but he's injured again. So Saka's coming in from injury. As Arsenal fan, you hope that he starts regaining his form and start playing well again. And Eze's done pretty well as well. I'm pretty sure he scored a last-minute winner last game for them, if I'm not mistaken.
Eze?
Yeah, Eze scored he scored his first goal for Arsenal recently.
He got the assist for Martinelli against Man City.
No, I think it's a cup competition. I think he scored. He scored
his first goal. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that brings more confidence to him. As a new signing, that does bring a lot of confidence to most players. And I think Martinelli as well. He's been doing well. Obviously, bringing in competition does push a player to do better, because I think Martinelli just didn't have enough competition on the left wing. There was no players to play in his position, so that's why he wasn't playing well. He was being a bit too complacent. Not playing to his best. But I think now the competition with Eze, I think he can be a better winger. But yeah, I just think Arsenal right now are the better team. Although might not have had the results that an Arsenal fan would want. I still think that they're the better team than Newcastle. Newcastle, after that game against Barcelona, they're not playing well. So based off that, I've given them 3-1. What about you, Carlos?
I've gone with a 2-1 win for Arsenal. Now, I don't know how convincing it's going to be. Arsenal, yeah, they're getting very convincing wins at home, but away from home, they're not really getting the results that ideally they want. Obviously, they lost with Liverpool, and I'm not sure about the other results, if I'm honest with
They
you.
drew to City, and they've won the other
That was at
games.
home, though. That was
Yeah,
at home, though, I would say.
yeah,
Yeah, listen, they've been okay, I guess. I mean, away from they only beat Man United 1-0. That was the other away game this season. So,
yeah.
yeah, listen, I think that they can get a result and win. But again, not by a massive margin. They have quality players. We always say that about Arsenal. They made great signings. I think that, like you said, they need to feed Gyökeres. Obviously, he did win the Best Striker award in the Ballon d'Or ceremony. It's, he is quality. He's a goal scorer. We said this when he signed. We said this when he was linked to Manchester United, and obviously we had bias and probably wanted him more than any other striker. He's a quality footballer. Give him chances, he'll score goals, but he hasn't had any chances really. And when he does have chances, he has scored. So yeah, I think if they're able to give him even one sniff of a chance, he'll get a goal. So I've gone with a 2-1 win for Arsenal for that reason. And the final game of the weekend is Everton versus West Ham. Now, I believe Ali reluctantly predicted a 2-0 win for Everton. What do you think, Hassan?
I've given a 3-1 win to Everton. Just on the basis that, obviously Everton are playing at home. They've had a decent home record since, having a new stadium. And I think that West Ham just not been playing well at all. I've watched them play, and I think if Potter, obviously has the same lineups as, previous games and just doesn't make the right substitutions, then I think that they'll struggle in this game. I think Everton have a very good midfield and just a good squad in general. So he can't get away with playing like the likes of Souček and Ward-Prowse in midfield. He's actually bought a CDM that's been running on the bench. Magassa. You've bought a CDM. Use him. You know what I mean? And as a West Ham fan, that's probably very frustrating. I know Ali's very frustrated with Potter right now, because he's just been tactically just inept. Like, he's not been doing the right thing at all. He's clearly out of his depth and just not playing the right players. Like, it's not even that hard to see these problems. Like, we as football fans, we're not the most knowledgeable people when it comes to sports and that. Coaches should know more than us, but then when it comes to these decisions, they still stick with them. These are the type of things that gets a manager sacked, by continually playing like players that obviously are not in the right position and not doing the right job. So I think the biggest problem with West Ham right now is just the manager. The manager needs to see his mistakes and learn from them, because if he continues doing this, then they're not going to get any results. And I think Everton are actually the opposite now. I think mentally they're very good. Obviously, I think Dave Moyes has completely transformed the team. They're a team that likes to attack as well, because I think Everton, back in the Sean Dyche times, and also before that, they were very like counter-attacking side. Not a side that builds up in the attack and whatever. But I think you saw against Liverpool how they do rely on Grealish, but obviously Grealish likes that type of build-up play. He doesn't just counter-attack and that's it. That's not the type of team they are. They can counter. Obviously, they have the likes of Iliman Ndiaye, who's very fast. But I think that's not the team they are. I think they're a team that actually like to progressively build an attack, which is very different from what we've seen from Everton in the past. And I think Everton are just a dangerous side right now, and they played well against the big side. So I think as West Ham, it's a clear winner to me. Everton should be winning this game comfortably, especially at home, and that's why I give them the 3-1 win. What about you, Carlos?
I've gone with the same result, 3-1 win for Everton. I think, like you said, Everton have quality footballers in the attack. We can name them again and again. We seem to name them every single video. We know how good they are. The link-up seems to be very good. They gave a very good game to Liverpool, made it very hard on them. And the goal they scored was quality as well. I think against the West Ham team that are kind of on their knees, they need to sort of take their chances. West Ham in the midfield just look an absolute shambles. Ward-Prowse is a player that's sort of become a bit of a liability for them. He's not really good at anything. Maybe his passing, his set pieces, but other than that, it's not really great. You have Magassa on the bench, who is a CDM, which you want to play, and I think Mateus Fernandes maybe alongside him could work. Again, you can't say a young player coming in from the French league can come in and succeed, but you've got to give him a chance. I mean, it's better than playing Ward-Prowse, who looks out of his depth at the moment. So that's why I've gone with a 3-1 win for Everton. Obviously, Everton looking good, West Ham not looking good themselves. So that is my result prediction. And that's it for the video today. Bit of a quick one, but, that's just how we roll, But before we end the video, Hassan, do you want to give us the quiz for the next player?
Yeah, sure. So the first fact is he made his Premier League debut at the age of 16 for Charlton Athletic. The second fact is he played for multiple Premier League clubs, including West Ham, Tottenham, Portsmouth, and Sunderland. Third fact is he scored 150 goals or over 150 goals in the Premier League, placing him among the league's all-time top scorers. The fourth fact is that he represented England internationally, scoring 20 goals in 57 appearances. And the fifth fact is that he was known for his pace, clinical finishing, and being a constant threat as a striker throughout his career. Let us know who the player is in the comments, and we'll reveal it in the next video.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming and watching the video. Please leave your predictions in the comments below as well. Be very nice to interact with you guys on that front. But again, thank you for coming in. Please leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you guys know when we upload videos. And take care and see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
See ya.